Good morning. Welcome to UU Asheville. It's good to see everyone. My name is Erin Shadle. I have the privilege of serving as worship associate this morning. I'm a 40-something cisgendered white woman with long brown hair and a maroon dress. And I am so excited to introduce you to the Reverend Lisa Schwartz, who is with us today. She has served in the UU ministry for 30 years before retiring to Asheville. And she and her husband Jim, so that she and her husband Jim can live near their daughter, son-in-law, and grandchildren. She is so happy to be a member here for the last 2-ish years, we just figured out. And welcome to everyone else as well. Whoever you are, wherever you're from, whoever you love, however you identify, whether you are here in person or joining us online, we are so glad that you are here. Welcome. Let's now settle ourselves and enjoy the gift of our opening music.
And my Lord, he said unto me, do you like my garden so fair? You may live in this garden if you keep the grasses green, and I'll return in the cool of the day. And my Lord, he said unto me, do you like my garden so pure? You may live in this garden if you keep the waters clean, and I'll return in the cool of the day. Now is the cool of the day. Now is the cool of the day. The earth, it is a garden, the garden of my Lord. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And he walks in his garden in the cool of the day.
Sorry, I got a little dizzy.
You okay?
Yeah.
Take a deep breath.
Yeah, yeah.
And my Lord, he said unto me, do you like my garden so free? You may live in this garden if you keep the people free, and I'll return in the cool of the day. Now is the cool of the day. Now is the cool of the day. The earth, it is a garden, the garden of my Lord. And he walks in his garden in the cool of the day.
Oh, I'm so pleased to be here with you today. Thanks for showing up on a rainy Sunday. My name's Lisa Schwartz. I'm proud to be a member here. I'm a mid-size elder woman with white hair and a bright blue top, standing at a wooden lectern. This morning, as we gather, we mark the anniversary of a significant loss for our congregation and for the world. It was 4 years ago today that the Reverend Mark Ward, recently retired from serving this congregation, died so suddenly, so shockingly. So we light this community candle to mark this anniversary, but most of all, to light up the world the way that Reverend Mark did as he moved through the world, to lift up the love that he brought. Mark conveyed hope for the world, courage to live fully, and he modeled open-hearted curiosity for each new day. His generous presence continues to encourage us to feel at home in our own being. Mark's embrace of life can be described by a phrase he often coined: "I find joy in the blooming, buzzing sea of existence in which we make our lives." In the life of every congregation, ministers come and ministers go, leaving their radiant presence behind to continue to enlighten us. We light our chalice today, acknowledging the light we carry forward from Mark and from all ministers who have served here, who are gone from our sight, but whose ministry continues to enrich our lives together. We are blessed with love and amazing grace when our heart is in this holy place. Please rise in body or in spirit and sing together with me. When our heart is in a holy place, if you'd like to follow along with the words, it's in the blue book on 1008. Well, that is the music, sorry. Hey, we got some kids up in the front row now, and any kids or children at heart, you're welcome to come up and be in the front row and listen to this story of Answer Mountain. You see, there was a town that lived in the shadow of a mountain, and they called it Answer Mountain because carved into that mountain was an answer. It said, "The answer is no." They didn't know where that came from, how long it had been there. It seemed like it had always been there for generation after generation. But it, made life in that town so much easier. People didn't have so many decisions to make. They'd wonder what they were doing and look up and say, "The answer is no." Go, "Oh, right, of course, Answer Mountain, thank you." Well, one day, Ma Custis wondered what she should make for dinner. And she just couldn't decide. She said, aha, I'll go out and ask Answer Mountain. So she goes out to the mountain and says, should I make liver for dinner? The answer is no. She said, I guess I could have seen that one coming because nobody in my family really likes liver anyway. You know, they love cheeseburgers. Should I make cheeseburgers? The answer is no. Wow, you know, a few weeks ago I made those tofu tacos. Everybody loved them. Should I make tofu tacos? The answer is no. Wow. Ma Custis went on and on asking the Answer Mountain what she should make for dinner. Time after time, the answer was still no. She asked so long that the sun went down behind the mountain and the family went to bed with no dinner that night. They were not very pleased. The next day she went out and she asked all day and into the afternoon. And finally, as the sun began to go down, she just went in the house and made liver anyway because it was the first thing she had thought of. And her family hated it. They said, please never make liver again. If you do, we'll go out and hide in the barn for a week. Well, Ma Custis was pretty frustrated, and she started to wonder about this answer that was always the same. By the next day, she'd worked herself up. She was stomping and fuming and spitting, and she said, why is the answer always no? Can't there once in a while be a different answer? So she went down to the town square and rang the big old bell that called all the townspeople for a town meeting. And she said, look, I don't think this Answer Mountain is helping us the way it used to, because I think every once in a while it ought to say the answer is yes. Well, the townspeople, you know how it is when something's been that way for a long time, somebody asks you to change. They were not really very pleased with this idea, and they cogitated about it, and they kind of grumbled, and they kind of argued. But for days, they went on discussing it, and eventually they came to decide that it would be nice if once in a while at least the answer could be yes. So they got a stone carver to go climb up Answer Mountain. He said, I think I can do this. And they heard chiseling and chipping and sanding and sawing. And pretty soon he came back down, and all the people gathered into the town square, and they looked up and it said, the answer is yes. Wow, they were so pleased. They were amazed. Things were still going to be easy. And Ma Custis figured she was the one who had figured the problem in the first place, so she had to ask the first question. She said, should I make liver for dinner tonight? The answer is yes. Oh, she said, you know, the last time I made it, they made me promise that I would never make liver again. So are you saying I should break my promise? The answer is yes. Whoa, this did not work out at all, and the townspeople started right away to grumble and wonder what could be going on. None of them could think of anything, and finally the smallest kid in the town, you know, I think it was one of those Custis kids who was really still mad about the liver. Well, that smallest kid in the town said, why does there have to only be one answer? Well, the townspeople had never thought of it that way before. And so they started to cogitate about that and what the possibilities might be. And they finally asked the stonecutter, do you suppose that maybe the mountain could be made to say, the answer is sometimes no, and sometimes the answer is yes, and sometimes it's wait and see, and sometimes it's, oh, I don't even really know. And he scratched his head and said, well, that's a mighty big thing to put up on that mountain. Let me see what I could do. So he went up, and all night they heard chipping and sawing and carving. And the next morning, everybody ran out and looked up, and it said, the answer is under construction. Well, we hope you don't have trouble making up your minds to go to your classes with wonderful teachers who will join you in learning and love. So we're going to sing a song to guide you there. And if you're a parent who's here for the first time, you might go with your kids so that you know who their teachers are and where to pick them up after. deeply in this moment, you might concentrate on slowing down your exhalation so that it's a little bit longer than your inhalation. Now become conscious of the beat of your own heart. It's such an automatic thing. We usually don't think of it. It automatically adjusts to the needs of our body. And it's such a complex structure. But every cell of the human heart can beat independently. If you isolate one cell, you don't need a muscle strand, just a single cell, and if you put it in, say, a petri dish, it will still pulse and beat. And here's a remarkable thing. If you take 2 beating heart cells from 2 different people and put them in that petri dish, they will synchronize into a common beat. It seems there's a fundamental biological drive for us to connect and co-regulate with other people. The poet Mark Nepo says this biological fact holds the secret of all relationship. It is cellular proof that beneath any resistance we might pose, and beyond all our attempts that fall short, there is in the very nature of life itself some essential joining force. So as you sit quietly and breathe deeply, imagine that the rhythm of your heart is loud enough to fill this room like a drum beat. If you're joining us from farther away, we can hear your drum beat too, and we send ours to you. Send the beat of your heart to everyone around you, everyone beyond these walls, no exceptions. Be aware of the responding beats of other hearts. And it might start as a cacophony. Perhaps it will end as a symphony. And in this holy place of connection, our hearts are prepared to share our joys and our sorrows. Each human heart carries both, of course, and has the capacity to do so. And so each week when we gather, we observe a ritual of sharing our joys and our sorrows from our hearts into the beating heart of this congregation. Erin will prepare the water to receive tokens of your joys and sorrows. She brines the water with a little salt to remind us of the salinity of our tears and the blood that courses through our bodies. And she sprinkles flower petals on the surface of the water to remind us of the buoyancy of our joyous community. I invite you to participate in this ritual. Form lines on either side of the congregation, and there are bowls of rocks and shiny bits of glass that you might put into one of these bowls, and Erin and I will stand by ready to give hugs if you need one. We acknowledge that joys and sorrows sometimes remain in the silent sanctuary of our hearts, and that those people who are joining us remotely are also placing their joys and sorrows into this common vessel. Whether we're together or apart, we are one in community.
For our reading this morning, I'd like to share an excerpt from A Great Wagon, which is a poem by Rumi, the 13th century Muslim mystic and poet. Today, like every other day, we wake up empty and frightened. Don't open the door to the study and begin reading. Take down a musical instrument. Let the beauty we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make sense. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the doorsill where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep.
I invite you to imagine me at 15 years old. Okay, this might be too much of a mental leap. So, here's an actual photo of me at the age of 15. If you don't take in visual information, this is a 15-year-old girl with brown hair and equally brown-framed glasses with a sprightly 1974 shirt. So, I'm 15 years old, and I'm out to lunch with my mother and my grandmother. We make our order. I get up to use the restroom. I walk calmly, purposefully, right into the men's room. Now, this room is empty. There aren't any immediate red flags, and I notice right away that there's a line of urinals along one wall, and I think, I'll bet this room used to be a men's room. So I continue into a stall. I take a seat. I hear the door open. Somebody comes in. They go into the stall right next to me. And ladies, you know how you do. You look under the partition, and there are men's shoes. Oh, and I'm like, there's a pervert in the restroom. Oh, no. And then I start to rewind the tape, and kind of reconsider the line of urinals. And I'm like, I'm the pervert in the restroom. Oh, no. Well, I wait till the guy leaves, and then I make a quick, hasty, very quiet exit, and I would have been completely home free if it hadn't been for my mother and grandmother. They were sitting out at the table, and they'd seen me go into the men's room and just stay in there, and they'd seen the guy go in there, come out, and so when I came out the door, they burst into hysterical laughter. And everybody in the restaurant looks up to see what's so funny. And there I am, 15-year-old me, framed in the men's room doorway. And I was mortified. Well, I'll tell you, I have lots of experience of being wrong, and yet I'm not an expert. There are experts. Catherine Schwartz calls herself a wrongologist. She's researched the whole phenomenon of being wrong. She wrote a book called Being Wrong, Adventures in the Margin of Error. Now, she does a really wonderful TED Talk about being wrong. She has this vast audience of accomplished, talented people, kind of like this one. They know a lot about being right. And she starts out with this question: how does it feel to be wrong? Oh, they start to say, oh, it feels terrible. It feels mortifying, dreadful, embarrassing. And she said, oh, these are great answers to a different question. I didn't ask the question, how does it feel to realize you're wrong? I asked, how does it feel to be wrong? So you got to take it from a teenage girl who spent a little time in the wrong restroom. Realizing you're wrong feels terrible, but being wrong, well, I'll tell you, that feels just like walking past those urinals and going, oh, this must have been a men's room once. Because being wrong feels exactly like being right. Catherine Schwartz says, of all the conflict in the world, from war in the Middle East to spouses arguing about whether she asked him to buy crumb cake or pound cake, a staggering amount of conflict arises from the clash of mutually incompatible, entirely unshakable feelings of rightness. I think American society is flooded with feelings of rightness, and it's practically destroyed our civic life. It's hard to even imagine another way, though I hope you can. I hope we can imagine another way. As environmentalist and optimist Rob Hopkins says, the human ability to suspend our fear about the future long enough to imagine a future in which we want to live, that's the only thing that can inspire the profound changes we so desperately need. It's a survival skill. It's probably built into our brains, the ability to imagine the future and then mentally project ourselves into that future. Rob Hopkins says that may be the only thing that's ever pulled humanity back from the brink. Over 300,000 years worth of brinks and countless catastrophes. We're able to envision a future that honors our cherished values. And social psychologist Jonathan Haidt says, we all have the same values. Oh, I know you're thinking, not sure about that. But listen, Jonathan Haidt has researched morals and ethics and values all around the world and in the United States across this political divide. And he says, listen, morality is so advantageous to the survival of our species that there's sort of a first draft morality that's coded into human consciousness. Just the basics. So the 5 foundational moral values in no particular order are compassion, fairness, loyalty, order, and purity. My liberal loves don't get hung up on that idea of purity. Think of purity of land, air, water, food. So Haidt says humans around the world share these 5 values: compassion, fairness, loyalty, order, purity. It's just that we put them in different orders. If you put compassion and fairness on top and you always start there, that'll impact how you look at public policies about immigration or prison reform. And if you put group loyalty and purity on top, you will quickly come to some different conclusions about those same public policy issues. But over time, through experience, we resort and revise our moral values, and thus we construct a moral matrix. Remember the movie, The Matrix? In the movie, the machines have taken over, and humans exist only as energy sources that power these incredibly intelligent machine overlords. Like that'll ever happen. Hollywood. Most humans in this matrix are blissfully unaware of the reality because their minds are experiencing this So eventually some people get woke and want to be liberated from this slavish existence, but there's this really neat plot twist. When people are given the choice between being free and actually experiencing real reality, which is harsh, or to continue to enjoy the bliss that is not real, turns out to be a difficult choice. Some people prefer the illusion. I mean, does it matter if we're wrong as long as we feel right? Catherine Schwartz says it's as if we think our minds are perfect windows on reality and we just sit, gaze out of them, and watch things unfold. And we want everybody to gaze out of the exact same window and see exactly the same thing. So say you're sitting there gazing out your moral window, you're comfortable in your viewpoint, which feels so clearly right. Yet there are people who disagree with you, some of them vehemently. And what is wrong with these people? Schultz says, well, the first thing we do is assume that if they had the information we had, they would see things just as we do. And aren't we such good, patient explainers, teachers, all of us? So say that you give the information and your conversational partner is not convinced by your crisp logic. Okay, we think, they might be kind of stupid. Well, say you discover that your conversational partner was Phi Beta Kappa at Stanford, had a postgraduate internship at St. Paul's School in London, finally graduated from Yale Law School where he was the editor of the Yale Law Journal. This person is clearly exceptionally smart, and by the way, I'm sharing just a few of the accomplishments of Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri. So you discover the other guy is not lacking the information that you have available, and they are not stupid. They must be evil. And then there's no sense talking to them, and certainly no sense in listening to them. Jonathan Haidt says, if you believe that half of America votes Republican because they are stupid or blinded by religion or just plain evil, then you are trapped in a moral matrix. If our goal is to understand the world, a general lack of moral diversity is gonna make it harder. Because when people all share morals, all share values, they become a team. And the psychology of teams shuts down open-minded thinking. So remember that question we started with, how does it feel to be wrong? And you remember the answer, same way it feels to be right. Make no mistake, I believe we are right about climate change and racial justice and addressing the wealth gap. I'm just saying, if we come into a conversation and operate from that place of certainty of our rightness, we risk becoming self-righteous. And in a contest of holier than thous, nobody wins. I mean, would you rather be right, or would you rather make progress towards a brighter future? There are these relationship gurus, a married couple named Helen LaKelly Hunt and Harville Hendricks. They've written 10 books on healthy marriages, successful marriages. They're all bestsellers. They've traveled around the world giving sold-out workshops on marriage. Make it stronger, make it healthier. And they realized at some point in their own marriage that they were so polarized there was no choice but to get divorced. I'm not making this up. They went to a divorce lawyer. They drew up the papers. They told their family. And then in a last-ditch kind of Hail Mary pass effort, they said, when was the last time either of us really felt heard by the other? And so they asked this question now of their audiences and of us, have you ever felt truly heard? Not tolerated, corrected, or analyzed, but heard without interruption or judgment or defensiveness. Helen and Harville say the simple act of listening begins to shift the nervous system. Our defenses soften. Something inside begins to register, I am safe here. They say when you listen deeply, you stretch into your partner's world. You begin to see through their eyes, feel through their experience, and make room for a reality that is not your own. You begin to truly understand that their point makes sense to them. And in time, your partner learns to do the same for you. I think their insight goes way beyond marriage. If you're lucky enough to find a dialogue partner, maybe someone in your family or your neighborhood, maybe even someone in this very church, what would it be like to be heard in that dialogue? And what do you think it would feel like for that other person to be heard without judgment or analysis or defensiveness? Parker Palmer says, if you feel judgmental or defensive, ask yourself, I wonder what brought them to this belief. I wonder what they're feeling right now. I wonder what my reaction teaches me about myself. Earlier, I asked you to imagine the future you want to live in, and I wonder if your future, like mine, contains real, solid human connections. Perhaps in a vibrant community and a diverse community. I'm coming to realize that the future I yearn for cannot coexist with my need to be right or even to feel right. Catherine Schwartz says, may we step outside that tiny, terrified space of rightness, look out at the mystery of the universe and say, wow, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
You don't know me. I am a stranger. I am a daughter. I am a son. Pleased to meet you. If you'll make my acquaintance, don't be frightened. I have nothing to hide. We might be different, but I am your neighbor. There's things about me you may not understand. Don't be afraid. Fear leads to hate. Let's turn the tide and wash away lines in the sand. You don't see me, but I have my dreams too. Just like your dreams, they've traveled so far. Your constellations, they are my constellations. Here now together, we count the same stars. We might be different, but I am your neighbor. There's things about me you may not understand. Don't be afraid. Fear leads to hate. Let's turn the tide be different, but I am your neighbor. There's things about me you may not understand. Don't be afraid. Let's turn the tide and wash away lines in the sand. You don't know me. I am a stranger. I am a daughter. I am a son. Pleased to meet you.
I realized at the beginning of the service I forgot to acknowledge some very important people in the room. That is our wonderful musicians, Zoe and Cloyd. Pleased to meet you. Thank you for being here. And of course, Les Downs on piano. Thank you so much, as always. Let's turn our attention now to the work of the congregation. And at this point, I'd like to acknowledge any visitors who might be among us. If you are here for the first time, or maybe the second or third, and you're feeling brave today and would like to let us know your name and where you're from, please stand, and someone will bring around a microphone so that you can briefly introduce yourselves. Has everyone been here before? Really? Welcome. Glad you're here. Well, that was easy. If you're hiding, if you're not feeling like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh. Yeah. Come on.
Hi, I'm Natalia Zoe Weinstein. Yeah, I just thought I'd introduce ourselves since we actually have not been here before. This is my husband, John Cloyd Miller, and we're from Fairview, North Carolina, and we're so happy to be here with you today. It was a beautiful sermon, and thank you so much for having us.
All right. Oh. It just takes one to start it, right?
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Town, and this is my daughter Samantha, and I've come here with her a few times over the past few years. I'm a member of the UU Westport, Connecticut congregation, but I'm now in the process of moving to Asheville, and I don't know anybody, so I really would be happy to make friends with all of you, and thank you so much for letting me introduce myself.
Hello, my name is Linda, and I am here for the first time to see my friend Lisa in a different light completely. You're beautiful. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Dylan Stewart. I come from Virginia. I actually come from the Agassiz Unitarian Universalist Church congregation. I'm here visiting my girlfriend, Marceline. I'm very happy to be here.
All right. Thank you all. I knew I saw some familiar faces. At the end of our service today, we'll have coffee and conversation across the hall in Sandberg Hall, where you're welcome to say hello to Trevor, who's standing over here by the door. He is our wonderful connections coordinator, and he would love to meet you and get to know you a little better, as would all of us, for that matter. For those of you who've been here a while, our announcements are found where? On the slides. And if you didn't catch the slides, where else can you find them? In the weekly e-news. Hooray! And if you don't get the weekly e-news, please send an email to us at information@uuasheville.org, and we can get you connected. There's a lot going on outside of these services. Our community plate recipient this month is WNC Votes. And today we do have a representative, Brenda Murphy, who would like to come and speak about their wonderful organization. Please come on up, Brenda.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me here today and for selecting WNC Votes as the beneficiary for your community plate offerings. Unlike, I believe, many other recipients, WNC Votes is not itself a separate organization, but rather is a coalition of organizations, all united in a common commitment to the importance of voting and voter engagement. WNC Votes got started in 2024 when a small group of activists who had discovered the power of nonpartisan deep canvassing to motivate infrequent voters reached out and got together with other organizations in the community and joined forces. From the beginning, our mission has been to engage, educate, and empower sporadic voters and those who are often left out and left behind. The need for this work is painfully obvious. In our country, more than a fourth of all eligible voters simply are not even registered to vote. Here in North Carolina, nearly 1 in 5 eligible voters, that's almost 1.5 million people, simply don't participate in the election process at all. These are all U.S. citizens, all 18 or older, all eligible to vote, but they either aren't registered at all or their registration has become inactive because they haven't made it to the ballot box in such a long time. The number of these missing voters in our state is more than the combined populations of our 2 largest cities, Charlotte and Raleigh. And even more disturbing, these missing voters are more likely to be young, Black, or Latino, a pattern that clearly shows how barriers to voting disproportionately silence our most vulnerable and historically marginalized communities. In WNC Vote's first year, in 2024, with 5 nonprofit partner organizations, our coalition focused on reaching these low-likelihood voters through 2 key strategies: door-to-door canvassing using a modified deep canvassing approach, and voter registration. In 2026, the coalition has grown to 9 partner organizations, including this congregation, and 4 strategic outreach teams: canvassing, voter registration and tabling, youth outreach, and Hispanic Latino outreach. So far this year, we've registered voters at festivals, rallies, concerts, farmers markets, and food distribution sites. We've held 9 canvass events, reaching over 1,000 households in Buncombe and Henderson counties with our Get Ready to Vote information. And we're launching a one-on-one canvassing program in just a couple of weeks for volunteers to continue the canvassing on their own. We've completed Spanish translations of our voter info materials, and we're beginning outreach to community organizations that serve Spanish-speaking communities. To reach youth and first-time voters, we're partnering with Warren Wilson College during student orientation the end of August, and we're developing creative contests for kids around voter awareness that we plan to launch in high schools the beginning of the school year. We are so grateful that you've chosen to support this work. Your generous donations will help cover all of the hard costs that are associated with this: voter materials, getting matters printed, volunteer information and materials and supplies, and all of this really does add up fast. In closing, I want to say a special thanks to this congregation for being a WNC Votes organizational partner, and also to the wider Unitarian community for your commitment to voter turnout and protecting democracy. Thank you so much for your support. I hope some of you will also join us for one or more of our voter outreach opportunities as a volunteer. And please do visit our website, wncvotes.org, to learn more and get involved. Thank you.
Collections received for this month will be split 50-50 with WNC Votes. Let's see, and the work and ministries of this congregation are entirely supported by the generosity of our members and friends. We celebrate you each Sunday with music and thanks, and the offering will now be gratefully received.
I was a boy, not over knee high, when I first went to Chestnut, the home place up on a mountainside, the place where my grandpa lived as a child. There once was a farm there, some years they barely got by. They cut down the chestnuts, cursing the blight, sold them for 10 bark, that's all you could do when they died.
All that's left are the graves on a hill, a couple of chimneys standing there now. Memories floating back in my mind, I wanna go back in time.
Years went on by, as years always do. Even on Chestnut, life changed a lot up there too. They moved off the mountain till no one was there, except for great grandma and the home they all had once shared.
All that's left are the graves on a hill, a couple of chimneys standing there now. Memories floating back in my mind, I wanna go back in time.
Home sites are offered up if you qualify, but they can't take our home place, no matter how hard they may try. But now there's an iron gate at the foot of the hill. They locked up old Chestnut,
But voices are singing there still. All that's left are the graves on a hill, a couple of chimneys standing there now. Memories floating back in my mind, I wanna go back in time. I wanna go back in time.
wanna go back in time.
I wanna go back in time.
Wanna go back in time.
I wanna go back in
Wanna
time.
go back in time.
I wanna go back in time.
For the gifts of your presence, time, wisdom, and resources, we are grateful. And we're also very grateful for our musicians today. Thank you so much. Now let's rise in body or spirit for a hymn, hymn 1014, Answering the Call of Love, verses 1 and 2.
I
out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there's a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Don't go back to sleep. Remain standing in body or spirit as we sing our blessing song, our benediction song. Let's join each other for coffee and tea.
We'll see.
Sorry I almost passed out during the first song.
What happened?
I don't know.
I think it was your blood pressure. Yeah, I think it was his blood pressure medicine. He like stood up and
Yeah.
got
And then I couldn't sing.
Yeah.
I couldn't sing.
Yeah.
I can't believe you couldn't sing with blood pressure. It was weird.
Well, sometimes when he stands up quickly, it just like gets dizzy.
Anyway, whatever.
Feeling better. Quick recovery.
Thanks for that.
Yes, thank you. Come back again. Excellent. Really appreciate it. Thank you for coming. Yeah.
Tim Franklin, and this is Nancy. We've seen you guys perform 3 or 4 times around town. And, but really, we're happy you were here today and love your music. And yeah, we are.
It's a great spot.
Yeah. So, and come back. It'll be wonderful. So, yeah. Take care. Keep up the good work. Yeah.
I don't know that we've formally met. You know, Langdon with chemistry faculty. So, I'm doing all right. So we're going okay now. Oh, really? Oh, mercy. Okay. Yeah, I'll say, yeah. And everybody else did it. Yeah, so the rest of the family is actually going to see my wife's sister in Milwaukee. So they're driving up right now. So I am dog sitting, but she's in the crate right now. So.
And our dog is 6 months old, and she doesn't love. I mean, she'll be in the crate, she'll tolerate it for a couple hours. She's very high.
Okay, yeah, we have 11-month-old who's also.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, I met your dog.
Right. Oh, did you? Oh, okay.
You have a golden retriever. Yeah, they have a really cute dog. What's her name?
May.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. I forgot.
So she doesn't like the summer because there aren't as many students on campus to play with her.
I know, we should do a doggy play date
Yeah, we
sometime.
should.
And
Yeah.
how old is your daughter?
So I'm a 18-year-old and a 13-year-old.
Okay.
I knew her slightly. Yeah. She, some friends put together a show that was called Singing Up the Moon. And we did that in Pennsylvania. She came, the boys were in it. Her teacher, yeah. So that was great to be around them for a while. Susie Gray was college member, Steve Rankin. You guys have music recorded, I'm sure you do with all your songs. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so come see us. It's a Friday, last Friday in July. I think it's so yeah, that has College Park. They have this monthly community gatherings.
Terrific. Wonderful to hear you guys. I love your songs.
Bring these two guys.
The first one especially.
Yeah.